For me, easily, the Hollow Mask is everything I have ever grown to love about Bleach and anime in general. The dark allure, the mystique, the design, the aesthetic, the fantasy mystery of it all, the despair and struggle that it represents, is just what I live for. So when it stopped making an appearance in the series, I was actually genuinely a little upset. And it's strange because the mask kind of disappeared without saying goodbye. Now I guess you could say learning the Mugetsu, aka Final Getsuga Tensho, was the great send-off for the mask. But at the time, during the first run-through of Bleach, reading week to week, I don't think anyone actually realized that. And yes, I do understand why the mask wasn't around anymore, why it wasn't in the story, simply because Ichigo, around that time, started to accept himself more and understand more about who he really was. And unknowingly, you start to see the Hollow Mask infuse itself naturally through the Shinigami garments. After the Aranka arc, you do see more of a white aesthetic meshed together with the Shinigami wear. And there's even some cool foreshadowing included in the Fullbring arc when Ichigo gets his abilities back, showing the shark tooth-like aesthetic ridges on his blade that match the ridges on White's arms. And later on, Ichigo goes to have red on his shoulder pads, almost showing the red of White's core as well. Really highlighting all the connectivity and merging the soul goes on to do, and really show why the mask doesn't exist anymore, because they're now one. Now, even though all that is good continuity, connectivity, and story writing in general, the mask provided a certain level of darkness and horror-type suspense that was just unmatched in the story. That aggression that needed to be tapped into to get certain things done, but constantly teetering on a level of despair and fear, was so awesome. So for me, the mask could have actually remained as a concept simply because you're always still at some sort of internal struggle. There's always some internal war, especially when it comes to the darker parts of your personality. I do understand that in this series you can talk to your soul, so maybe things are a little bit different when you can have those in-depth conversations with yourself at such an introspective level. So the question is, can we ever see the mask again? From Ichigo? Probably not, sadly. He's matured to understand himself and the situation to the nth degree, especially by the end of the series. I mean, once he has the horn, and the entire costume is a proper mix of black and white, even down to the blade, at that point, you know the mask is never coming back. But I do have hope that Kazui, Ichigo's son, can show us something that will resemble the mask, or some sort of internal struggle like that in the future. I mean, who knows if the series will ever come back in such a big way, but when you examine Kazui's aesthetic, right now he only shows Shinigami and maybe Quincy traits with sort of his blue scarf. You don't see any sign of any hollow abilities or necessarily hollow aesthetic, but there could be something there. Alright, I'm going to keep this one a little short, but if you guys like the video, definitely throw down a like, consider becoming a sub, we're working our way up to 1k, and throw down a comment if you think that Kazui can have some sort of hollow powers. That'd be pretty cool. But alright, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace!
This is real.